in the analogy of the child of the moon and the sun and the great awakening in the opening of the mouth, the throne with the keys that states whatever is binded here on the earth is also bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt lose on earth shall also be lost in heaven. In the understanding of such literatures based upon world conflict being the only sin, and what can't enter into heaven and what can enter into heaven, that isn't quite made clear in the Bible as to what you lose here on earth is also lost in heaven. If you have sold your soul for money and it is claimed with world conflict, it will not go into heaven. It will remain in hell for another one to come and purify. It is called a poor man, mostly bought by a rich man's table. The rich damsel, in most cases, or the rich man who has no damsel, seeking a salvation for freedom in a Savior like Jesus Christ. Hatred and anger, especially when, let's say that them who wish to be something um, can't find grace in Jesus because they can't step out of their bounds or binding areas where hatred and anger is found. The greatest way to establish um, salvation or freedom from hatred and anger through Jesus Christ is to step out of the place that has binded you, meaning there is a man or a genie that has someone that is working over your head. Um, Everybody has a part of the tree of Judah, even the hangman. And in some cases, it is stated a rich man who has a man hung on the tree with a lot of money, or a dollar versus a soul with a lot of spirits. The same, uh, not the same thing, but uh, in speaking, understanding two different powers. There is a power where the church and divination would daily sacrifice and daily exalt, and then there is a man with money who pays somebody to shoot people or work their head with the many spirits. It's a bot government or a bot system of divinations to profit the rich man by the man's hatred and anger. And in that hatred and anger, had he lost something upon this earth, and there he had lost something in heaven. The only power in uh, in the book of life is hatred and anger. In our words, mostly, God, um, the helmet of salvation is wicked, and God is very understanding of this. For his brother, Hades of Orion, brother Orion, had established the foundations of this earth, and like one brother, a real brother, will know a real brother, even a brother who is backstabbing, or a brother who is not backstabbing, but a brother knows a brother. They are brothers, brothers in arms, a freedom, a peace, and a constitution. This is the brothers in arms with one of the belts, stars in Hesperus or Hesperus. But the binding, the key to heaven, and this is for a lot of people, but some people aren't really awake to it. The key to heaven is peace, and the key to hell is peace. However, there are exaltations that are wicked, and everybody loves it. Idol is governing system, and their practice in the eyes of all people, in the minds of all people, and in the hearts of all people, which is the key to heaven. How one is able to carry themselves through amongst the many priests and scribes literature to uh, the book of life that um, is lived out every day in a divination coming from foreign countries. We, as American people, established the world in America as a very criticizable place. And if you can't handle it, then go back to your country. And this is what's coming over to this country is racism. A man um, who can't um, conform to the criticizable, there's as long as it's not life threatening. I mean, African or Muslim, they call each other names that are considered to be racist, but if an American person does the same thing, it's racist. So these are the things that um, I'm talking about, and in that racism, a large group of people comes after you, mostly British, and they try to make you hate or find anger or another form of stalking your family and terrorizing your family, like it's written in the Bible. The keys is peace. There is nothing else. And every now and then there are vile spirits. This is why I've written to my Facebook page. Give me a freedom note or promissory note, as all of these divinations sacrifice the vile, tainted, corrupt spirits of rich people's money on poor people for a theft and a constant forcing to expose to God, so that what is yours that they had thefted in that vile, in that taint, corrupt spirit that it came and caused you to act out, comes back to you and sees that I'm telling the truth and they are lying, and truth is in heaven and will never fall. And that is the true key to the belt, to the entire constellation star system to speak. As Jesus Christ here on this earth, Jesus Christ comes down to speak as a shepherd, like father, like son, in the 12th astrological chart upon every star in that chart, and the Pisces as a hermaphrodite soul in every star in that chart. And the administrator of bread is said to be the prophets to every star, a form of feeding, but it doesn't explain this in the Bible, where not a lot of people are able to sit on the throne as the sword at the right hand, to sit on the throne as the shield at the left hand, or vice versa, the, the stones of Ryujin upon each shoulder that is a part of the hand, and enter into heaven and be found worthy to purify that is called a manna from the human flesh to the animal flesh to the sea creature flesh, from the fowl of the earth flesh. It still dies in the earth. Even the cattle dies in the earth, and the cattle and the rest of the livestock feed from it, and the grass grows and the tree and nature grows. So we are called a union of eating self in the retrospect of consecration yourself to the Lord, that the stars may shine brightly forever. This is the key to heaven. I explain, um, whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall also be bound in heaven, and thou shalt whatever thou shalt lose upon the earth shall be loosed in heaven. And the only loss is hatred and anger, especially when you called on your past and it is displayed before your eye as a third eye, and you find hatred and anger from it when a lot of bad stuff. This is something that I'm trying to get across to the whole entire world to help people make it through. And even the law, who watches TV and loves that stuff and then hates people in the earth that does that stuff. But they make a lot of money off of that stuff. This is what I'm trying to explain in the final war between the angels and the demons, and what God will accept. And you too one day shall burn and have to consecrate yourself to the Lord in order for, um, your binding in heaven with many riches in, gold and silver, even rubies and sapphires and emeralds and all kinds of, uh, colored jewels that you have bound here upon earth, taking it into the heavens with you where the stars are. There are not a lot of colors in the stars, but I assure you that there can be.